Water beating is way better than dry beating. I People have told me differently, but I'm gonna have to strongly disagree with you there. When when I try to dry beat, it's like genuinely like hurts. But like the water, it sort of like softens the skin and stuff, and so it makes it a lot less bad. Um, I think we've all been there, you know. You live with your parents or whatever. Um, Maybe you don't have access to any lotion, so you're just in the shower, trying to get yourself off, and so you gotta use the water. Um, that was the thing I tended to do a lot, actually. I didn't start jacking off till I was 19. I was raised in a very Christian household, and I felt like that was like a sin and such. And I'm not very religious anymore. Really haven't been for a while. But sort of once I realized like, it's really not that big of a deal if you jack off. Then I was like, okay, but I've already gone this long. I was probably like about like 17 at this point, 16 or whatever. Like I've already gone this long, and I don't really feel the urge to jack off because I have. And so I was just like, I just won't until I, actually fuck a girl, so that I can like fully experience my first nut while awake. Because I mean, you always have the wet dreams, but so that I can fully experience my first nut while awake, while inside of a woman. And I might be part of like less than 1% of the population that's done this, but I actually did that. I actually didn't jack off until after I lost my V card. Huge dub. But, I was about 19 when I lost my V card, and that was just sort of a fling. It was just a one-time thing, and so I was like, "Fuck it, why not?" But I didn't have any lotion. I wasn't a guy to use lotion, so I just sort of used water. It wasn't too bad, did the job. And I didn't ever really feel the need to use lotion for years. And sometimes I'd talk to my friends about it, because like me and the boys, like we talk about that shit all the time. And they'd be like, "Why are you jacking off with water, man? That's gonna hurt your dick so bad." And it didn't really. It didn't really. Actually, it might have. It might have done some damage. But one thing that I can say that it hurt was my ability to last, bro. Bro, first time I fucked my ex, bro. Dude, that shit was so tight. Oh my god, that shit was so tight. Bro, it felt like heaven. Busted instantly. Busted instantly. Had to get a plan B, because she wouldn't let me use a condom. Fucking whore. But I was about 21 years old, and I got on the lotion train. And ever since I got on the lotion train, I sort of realized, it actually helps me last quite a bit. It actually does. Like, I think because like the difference between jacking off with water and then being in a pussy is so extreme that it was just too much for me. It was just way too much for me, and so I just could not last. Jesus Christ, I could not last. But once I started using lotion, I think that sort of changed. I think that sort of changed, and I was able to put some good dick game in afterwards. But yeah, I was about 21 years old when I bought my first bottle of lotion. Still have that bottle of lotion, actually. Lotion actually lasts quite a long time, if you use it sparingly. But yeah, my buddies in London, when I was over in London, they were telling me about how I need to start using lotion. And actually, crazy story, because I had told them that I never used lotion, and one of my buddies was like, I was like using his bathroom, and he was like texting me, and he was like, "Bro, just hit a yerk in my bathroom. Just hit a yerk in my bathroom and use my lotion." I thought it was weird. I'm like, what the fuck? You're telling me to jack off in your bathroom? But also, I was like, fuck it, it's a little weird, but why not? You know, I'll try it. Gave it a shot. It was kind of nice. Then you bust weight really fast, though. But, you know, a few months later, I ended up getting the lotion. Ended up starting to use that. Starting to try to make my goon sessions last a little longer, so I could try to, you know, improve my ability to last in bed. And I gotta say, it really worked. It was a really helpful thing, and I really liked that I did that. You know, that I changed that habit. But it was crazy. It was crazy. I actually my nickname with that friend group is Aqua Beats, or one of several nicknames. Evil C is another one of the nicknames. That's why I named this channel Evil C. But Aqua Beats is one of the nicknames because that's what they know me for. You know, I'm an interesting man. I'm an interesting man. Yeah, if there's one thing that you take away from this video, if you don't have access to any lotion, just use water, man. It's not that bad. But don't make it a habit, because you'll bust too quick. So yeah, C-Boy out.